Hello with everybody and welcome back. Today, I think that we are going to finally get around to working on the zombie spawner. So, a couple interesting things about the zombie spawner. It's not super far from the base. Another thing that's interesting is that it is right beside a pocket of water, which I believe is just a small pocket of water. It doesn't really lead to anywhere like, say, the ocean or a bigger cave. So, let's hollow this out a little bit and get going. Now, for a spawner grinder, which is what I'm going to build here, you essentially want to go 4 squares away from the spawner, so in every direction. When a spawner activates, which it does every once in a while, it's a set interval. I can't remember exactly how often, maybe 10 or 20 seconds or something like that. It will look around itself to see if there are any creatures of that type in the area. If there are, then it won't necessarily spawn, but if there aren't, it will spawn, and those creatures will appear out of thin air, and, then they'll just be there, ready to attack you. Now, I've been playing Minecraft for a little while, and I have been building these spawner traps for a little while as well, and I have to say there's probably a few things that I like to do with them that maybe not everybody else does, which, is fine. I like to see the spawner and I like to see what's going on. And previously, before tinted glass came out, I used to have to put glass there and make sure that any light sources I had were far enough away from the glass so that they would prevent spawns where I was, but B, they wouldn't affect spawns within the spawner. So when the version of Minecraft came out that had tinted glass, it was beautiful because all of a sudden you could now have all kinds of glass showing what's inside your spawner without having to worry about the light levels inside the spawner. Let's just clean up here a little bit for a moment. Okay. I have so much junk in my inventory. I'm going to need a crafting table here for sure. But yeah, anyways, so when dark tinted glass came out, it was great. So you could just have all kinds of glass all over and have no problem seeing what's going on inside of your spawner. So I liked it. I don't have any. I have some tinted glass, but I'm probably going to need more for what I do. Might as well smelt up this iron while we're not doing anything. I am going to need string, but I also am going to need not enough for a bed. Anyways, carrying on. Let's just get that smelting now. So just got to hurry up and wait now. Reminds me of the expression, a watched pot never boils. I would say a watched smelter never smelts. So in the meantime, what I think I'll do is I'll start building a little tunnel back towards the base and the spider spawner that we have. I want to have an easy way to come and go from here. And I'm probably going to expand this area here after I get the spawner all set up into something bigger and nicer. The spawner itself is what it is, but I usually like to make some sort of base around the area of the spawner, and it's generally a good idea to put things there that you can either idle doing, or you can you can walk around and do some manual things once in a while you're waiting for the spawner to fill up with zombies. So for those of you who have not seen a spawner trap like this before, essentially what we'll do is we'll build a structure around the spawner. Hang on. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out my coordinates here. So yeah, we'll build up an area around the spawner. And the general idea is you have to keep this area around the spawner clear. So, and basically it becomes like a 9x9 square around the spawner with the spawner at the center. The spawner will activate itself as long as you're within a certain range of it. I think it's 20 blocks of it, so you have to be that close to it for it to be operating. If you're any farther than that, it will not create mobs. The other thing you need to know is that once the mobs are created, we want to drop them down, and then we want... Ooh, heard that. Gonna look around. I don't want to have lots of unlit caves around here. Anyways, back to the spawner description. So it's a 9x9 area, spawner in the middle. It will spawn something that will drop, and this mob that drops, so it could be a zombie or a baby zombie riding a chicken. Those all happen. Anyways, it'll get dropped down lower, and with water streams, we're going to funnel them into one little spot where they get sucked into some soul sand and then go up. And once they're done going up, they will fall down. And we want them to fall 22 blocks. And once you do that, they're essentially going to be a one-hit kill. So they will fall, they'll take some damage just from the fall, and then you can go ahead and start, beating them up with one swing of your sword. And yeah, it's great. Ooh, here we are. There's that zombie. I definitely like to make ooh, lapis. That's good. I want to light up as much as I can. I would prefer not to have things spawning all around all the time. I do eventually want to have some specific farm setup that will require, the caves to be all lit up to work properly. Things like a slime farm or like a general mob farm. Anyways, back to our spawner. Oh, you know that sound? Aha. At first I thought it was maybe some sort of monster walking along in a crystal geo, but it looks like it's those glow squids. So... maybe it's time to try and get a couple of ink sacs. Ah, these lovely squids. And time. Really need respiration at some point. Anyways, back to, actually, let's make some of this drop here, fill it in, see if there's anything interesting up there. Don't think there is. Nope. Okay. Alright, so let's head back to our original mission of creating a tunnel to the spawner. So... let's just double check, because I've already forgotten the number. Okay, so right about here. So what we're gonna do is just gonna dig down until we get to the same Y level as where that other tunnel is, and hopefully everything here is lit up well enough and not very dangerous. But we'll connect to that tunnel that should already be just waiting there. Yep. Trying to make sure the area around is lit up as well too. We don't want to have things spawning and, walking down the tunnel to come kill us. Actually, let's see here. I think making a 2-wide tunnel might be a thing. Probably need to light that up better. Anyways, here we go. Alright. Alright, now go down a little further. -3. So this should be the right level. Just want to build a tiny little bridge here and carry on down the hallway. So this should intersect with the hallway I started digging before. Looks like we're going to have to add some more floor here. Not a big deal. Not sure how far it is. Ah, there we go. Not very far at all, actually. Okay. Do. Okay. One hallway. So, yes, we're going to have to expand this area around here a little bit. Make more room. Have to figure out where I want to have my kill chamber to be. But, yeah. Anyways, I'll do a little bit more renovating here and get back in a sec. Okay, here we go. Right, so normally when a spawner spawns, it can spawn in an 8x8 area, or sorry, 9x9, I guess, like within 4 blocks on any direction, left, right, forwards, backwards of the spawner, or on top of the spawner. Now, I think I was watching one of ilmango's videos where he sort of describes, you know, the mechanics of a spawner, and there are 2 things you can do to fix a small problem. And that small problem happens to be the idea that something spawns on top of the spawner. If something spawns on top of the spawner, they're generally just going to stand there. And if that creature is there, every time the spawner checks its radius to see if there are monsters of that type around, it'll say, oh, there's one here. So I'm going to create one less than I otherwise would have. So essentially, like, you don't want that to happen. So what a lot of people would normally do is they would stick some sort of half slab or something on top of the spawner, which will prevent spawns from happening. But if you want to get the absolute most out of your spawner, it's far better to flush that creature off of the spawner. So let's see here. What we'll do is we'll use a waterlogged trapdoor to spill water down and push mobs off the top of the spawner. It needs to be 1 block away from where the spawner itself is. So that's not right. That's right. Essentially, we're just making like a little, I guess, trench where the water will come down and push whatever's on top of the spawner off the spawner, but we need to make sure the water doesn't fall on top of the spawner itself, because we are going to use tripwire hooks and string to detect if something is on top of the spawner. So also, when I'm building something like this and I know it needs to be redstone or it's part of the structure that I don't want to accidentally break, I will use some sort of special brick. So stone bricks, or, you know, these deep slate, smooth deep slate. It's just something that looks different from the rest of the stuff around it. There we go. Anyways, that looks pretty good. It's probably a little farther forward than it needs to be. So what I'll do, take off this one, take off this one, take off these 2. They're not necessary there. And then I will have to stick one above this torch. There we go. Yeah, that should be good. So let's try the water again. Beautiful. So now we just have to put in the mechanism that will detect if something is on top of the, oops, that's the water spot. Check if something is on top of the spawner. And then, of course, you know, activate the trapdoor and flush them out. Anyways, now I'm going to have to expand this room to the proper dimensions, so above and below. Let's do a little bit of digging, and we'll come back when it's time to talk again. Oh, Okay, so I've hollowed out the area around the spawner the way it needs to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these deep slate tiles, polished deep slate, on the ground here. And I'm going to lay them out in a specific pattern, which I'll explain in a minute. Essentially what I want to do is I want to push the mobs from the sides down to a channel in the middle. And the channel in the middle is going to push them along to the spot where the bubble column is going to be, which will throw them all the way up, and then they'll fall down the specified height onto the killing chamber platform that I'm going to place. The reason I do it this way, I mean, there's multiple different ways to do this, but I like to do it this way because I feel it's this has to be lower than that. I gotta figure this out. Anyways, let's do this trick. So you can use a water stream to bring yourself down further, and then you can work on things underneath the surface. So for instance, there's a floor up above, and I want to be able to put things, underneath that. So the water column allows me to get underneath. Oh yeah, I had to light this area up because I ran out of torches, and I used redstone torches, which have a far smaller radius in terms of the light that they give off. So let's just replace those. Grab a bit of tuff. Tuff is a pretty good block for, building up and pillaring up every once in a while. It's very soft. Grab some iron while I'm here. I didn't notice it last time. Okay. I think there isn't anything around here. Okay. Yeah, nothing important. Okay, so it's just time to start building our channel here. So when I'm designing these farms, I like to make sure that, we can try and clear the creatures out as fast as possible. And in order to do that, we use water streams. The thing about water streams, though, is that they only, they lose strength. The farther away you go from where the water stream starts, the weaker it is. So it doesn't push you as hard. And we want to push them as fast as possible. So I think that it's after 4 blocks that the water stream stops being as effective as it otherwise would be. So I try to make the runs of water 4 blocks or less. I do something special at the end, but we'll get over to that in a second. There's a way that you draw things into the water stream that sucks them in, and we need to do that, otherwise they'll just sort of not ever go up the bubble column. Okay. Right. Don't need that there. We are going to have to fill this in. Just going to use these other blocks here, just because if I'm tunneling up from below for some reason, I don't want to accidentally, wreck what I've worked on. It's always good to use a different kind of block that helps you figure out which, what is important to what you've built in terms of functionality, and it should not be, busted. Anyways, let's get this center channel finished up, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, time to start adding some fences and some water. So the fence gates are going to be basically stopping the water from going any farther. And I'll have to figure out where exactly I want that to go up, but that's the general area. Anyways, the next thing else I want to do is I want to get some water streams flowing. So let's just do a little bit of remodeling, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, this is what the water's going to do in the channel, and each step down will have its own water source. And what we're going to do up here is we're going to... Oh, I forgot about that. The water's not going to flow correctly unless we either have some solid blocks on the ground in the middle, or... Really glad I picked up that tuff before. So, let's just pick that up. See how it updates properly, and then we're going to spread that across the entire length of the chamber. Now, I need some signs. Signs are cheaper than fence gates, but the problem with signs is if you bust one of them, then they all fall down by accident. So I tend not to use signs in my farms, just for the simple fact that I screw up around using them quite a bit and break them by accident. They're a pain to put back as well afterwards. So let's make a little bit of space in our inventory here. And I'm going to need more birch signs than that. Basically going to need 9 of them. Maybe I'll come back to that. In the meantime, I need to build a little bit of a perimeter around the outside of the spawner. Here. Oops. I meant to use a torch there. Okay. Anyways, and I'm going to have to hook up the redstone part that allows us to do the testing of whether or not a mob is on top of the spawner. So, let's just make this a little bit bigger. Eventually I'm going to hollow out all the way around it, but just for the moment we'll only do 2 high. Now, let's see here. So, in theory, this is where our redstone signal is going to need to go. So, bust it all the way to there. Yes, huge it. Okay. That'll be good. Okay, that's where a redstone a line of redstone is going to go there, and when the tripwire hook is activated underneath, and you'll see this later, but the tripwire hook is basically going to activate a redstone signal long enough to cause water to flush something off at the top of the spawner. Alright, I do have enough dark oak, so we're going to use dark oak signs in this case. So what we want to do is we just want to make sure that center channel has not got any water flowing over it. We want things to fall into it. So in order to stop the water from flowing, we can use signs or fence posts. In this case, I'm using signs because I'm a little low on resources. And we also want to have the same thing on this side. There we go. Okay, so now we need to hollow out this channel. Bring some water with us. And essentially, this channel will bring the mobs up to the bubble column, which I'm still thinking I probably want to move it another block farther. Yeah. Anyways, I think I'll call it for the episode now. It's running out of time here, and have to change around the configuration of this slightly. So, anyways, when we come back, we'll finish off the spawner and start reaping the rewards. Until then, hope you have a great day, stay safe and stay healthy, and take care. Cheers.